Thanks so much for coming out. Good morning. I'm Matt Mahan, Mayor of San Jose, joined today by Steve Slack and Catherine Alvarez, President Vice President of the San Jose Police Officers Association, and Greg Tuyor, representative of San Jose Firefighters Local 230. Really appreciate our labor leaders, public safety union standing with me on this. If you were to walk into the beautiful building behind me, you would think it was a brand new market rate apartment. It has units to serve everyone, from multi-generational families to single homeless residents. These apartments have private bathrooms. Many have kitchenettes with laundry and supportive services on site. And by the way, they're low barrier. You can bring your pets, your partner, your belongings. We do not require sobriety. We do not kick people out. We are meeting people where they are. But instead of taking advantage of this taxpayer-funded housing, 1 out of 3 people in this area who were offered housing refused to come indoors. People are choosing to remain in unsafe conditions just 100 yards away from these brand new individual private apartments. Alongside a dangerous railroad track exposed to the elements, as we see now, building fires that lead to over 2,000 calls for service each year that our fire employees, our firefighters have to respond to when they grow out of control. Homelessness can't be a choice, especially when over 200 people die on our streets each year, especially when it is harming the broader community, shuttering small businesses and costing taxpayers tens of millions each year, especially when we're offering safe, private, dignified alternatives. I'm proposing that after 3 offers of shelter, we hold people accountable for turning their lives around. Because we all have a responsibility to end this crisis. Government, on behalf of our community, has a responsibility to build shelter, and our homeless neighbors have a responsibility to use it. Often, when people refuse shelter, especially low barrier shelter like this, it's because they have an underlying mental health or addiction issue that is keeping them on the streets. Sometimes they are too in the throes of it to make a rational decision about their own well-being. That does not mean that we should throw up our hands and give up on them. It means we need to help them break a destructive cycle that is harming themselves and the larger community.
Lousy services
But the
with a destructive cycle.
But the city
Poor
can't do it alone. The county, as a provider of health and human services, has a robust drug and behavioral court system with experts who can help people find the best path forward. We need to get people into the care of the county if they are unwilling to accept housing from the city. Because the best path forward is not the status quo. Homelessness is a crisis, but if we don't get serious about accountability, it will become a constant. That's why, over the next year, San Jose will bring online over 1,000 new, safe, dignified places for people to come indoors. The taxpayers of San Jose are meeting their responsibility to our homeless neighbors. It's time to require that our homeless neighbors meet their responsibility to the wider community. Just before I invite our police and fire leaders to say a few words, I'll just say this in Spanish. Una de cada 3 personas sin hogar se negó ayuda después de que se les ofreció alojamiento 3 veces. Porque las normas de hoy no son sostenibles. Estamos pagando decenas de millones cada año para limpiar la. Now, my pleasure to introduce the president of the San Jose Police Officers Association, Steve Slack. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be very brief. I just want to say the police department is a willing member with the city to hold some of our unhoused population accountable. There's many reasons why folks enter into that population, whether it's battling an addiction, mental health difficulties, maybe a job loss, maybe there's some family dynamics. It's not one size fits all. This is one tool in the toolbox, however, for those that want to choose a lawlessness lifestyle. We can't have that. We can't have children going to school and being witness to mental crises on our streets. The amount of filth, the blighted properties, that is something that we want to be a partner with in helping clean up, make the streets safe and clean. So,
it's all about the Super Bowl.
And so,
you didn't say I was wrong, Matt.
And so, again, the police department is willing to partner with them, and this is a subset of that population. It's not everybody that's finding themselves in the predicament of homelessness. This isn't the one solution. It's going to take a lot of different solutions to address the issues that we have. It's very similar to the broken window policing philosophy, where if you allow small things to build and fester, it becomes that much harder to try to tackle when it's been allowed to do that. So this is something that we look forward to partnering with the city on, and our police department is very encouraged by the efforts that we're trying to do to address this. No one should be living out on the streets in this. There's plenty of people who live on the other side of that sound wall who pay a lot of money in rent or pay a lot of money in a mortgage, and they're trying to run their businesses, have their children go to schools and the libraries here, and they should not be forced to have to deal with this.
Why
So
don't you talk
we are
about
going
the cop
to
that the city killed in a sweep? Why don't you talk about that?
We're going to continue
Address the cop
to
that got
partner with
killed in a
this and
sweep.
enjoy the solutions that are being brought
We
forward.
will
There's
do.
a lot of creative ideas that the mayor and his team are trying to implement, and we're willing to look forward to that and work with him.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
You want to
Appreciate
talk
it.
about the cops that died in the
All
street
right,
here,
now
Matt?
we'll
In the
invite
sweep?
Kat
You want to
Alvarez
talk about that?
to come on up and say a few words as well. Thank you, Kat.
I'm actually very blessed to be here because at one time, my family did live in a shelter. We were able to get resources to be able to have that. My sister, on the other hand, fell to drug addiction and still currently on the street. So there are those avenues that we have. Like we said, we want to be able to give those resources to people, but we also want to make sure that everybody who's, myself included, being able to walk to school and be able to go to the library and not be harassed by people as they're walking. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. And finally, Greg Tudor, who's representing our firefighters, Local 230. Thank you, Greg, for being here.